Welcome back. Let's continue from where we left off. Okay, next let's add some inputs and outputs to these components so they can communicate with our control system and each other. I'm going to add an overlay to our screen to keep the logic list handy. That'll help us know what attributes, such as our inputs and outputs, that our components will need. When using WonderLogix, you should always think of how the data flows through the system. Data, or inputs, flow in from the left here, and we'll add that by using these plus symbols on the left of the components. Then logic happens within the components and its inputs and outputs. And then data flows out of, or is reported out of, the right side here. And we'll add those by clicking the plus signs on the right sides of these components. Okay, great. So let's check out our logic list and see what's first. Our first logic condition is that enabling the lubrication system turns on the pump. Okay, let's add our first input. Here on the lubrication system, we'll click that plus sign there, and we'll create a new input. Call this enable. So when the lubrication system receives a signal that it can be enabled, we want to enable the lubrication system. Then we want to also operate the pump unit. And we need to go into the pump unit to pass that information onto the pump so it knows to operate. Let's see what's next. Okay, the pump is turned off if the oil tank level falls below 20%. All right, well, to do that, we're going to need to know what level the oil tank has first. So let's go into the oil tank. Now I could drill down into the oil tank here like I've been doing, or I can just click over here in the project pane and that'll take us right inside it as well. So that's handy. And we have a level transmitter, it's a physical device. So let's get some sort of a reading out of this thing. There we go. And the condition says that the pump should be turned off if the oil tank level falls below 20%. Okay, now that we have a reading coming out of our level transmitter, we need to send that information out of the oil tank for folks that need to know. So to do that, we're going to add an output here on the right of the oil tank. We're going to call it level OK, and click create, and abstract away this information up a level. The other things outside of the oil tank don't really care what the exact reading is coming out of the level transmitter. They just need to know if the level is considered OK. All right, next. If the pump is requested to operate for at least 3 seconds, but the flow switch indicates low flow, then the lubrication system should report a failure. Let's go look inside of our pump unit and see what's going on there. And we need to know if this flow switch low is active or not. So let's get an output here. That'll let us know when it's active. And then our logic condition says that we need to report a failure out of the lubrication system if there's a failure. Well, to get the information all the way back to the lubrication system, I first need to know there's a failure with the pump unit. So let's add a failure option here as an output from the pump unit. And then we'll go back up to the lubrication system and we'll add a failure here as well so that it can report that out of this subsystem. All right, that's all we need for communication. Now let's add the logic required to tie all of this together. And that's a good stopping point. We'll see you in the next video.